Get the Friendo Club set up today and get access to over 700 Going In Raw bonus episodes, our monthly Big Blue predictions challenges, and the ability to ask questions at Going In Raw. We also offer the Steven Larson comic book and exclusive Friendo Club t-shirt. Just hit join here at youtube.com/Steven Larson or go to patreon.com/Steven Larson to sign up. Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
Welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. Of course, it's Wednesday, which means two things. Number one, we're going to be looking at your hot takes from the world of professional wrestling. And also, tonight, if you guys are in the Sacramento area and happen to be coming out to the AEW Dynamite / Collision show, afterwards, we're going to be doing a friendo meetup outside the Memorial Auditorium. If you're looking at the Memorial from J Street, it's going to be on the right. There's a flagpole. If you're coming out of the Memorial after the show and you want to say, hey, go to your left. There's a flagpole there. We're going to be in the flagpole vicinity in the front area of the Memorial Auditorium. So come say hi or don't. I don't really care, Larson.
It's up to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Want to come say hello? By all means, we'll be there. If you don't,
be there.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Exactly. Go get something fun from Midtown or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of good eateries and restaurants in the Midtown, downtown Sacramento area. It's a bustling district of the city. Lots to do, lots to enjoy.
Absolutely. Lots of great corporations there. Speaking of corporations, let's talk about corporate champions. This first hot take comes to you from, hey, I tried, man. I tried. Okay. Shotgun Sean says Cena didn't sell out because he's always been the corporate champion. The ultimate biggest company guy ever, Larson.
I mean, that might be to a certain extent true, but he was like the babyface version of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you know what? Again, the desperation that's leading Cena to do this has nothing to do with success. Financial success. He's already wildly financially successful in multiple endeavors. Pro wrestling, movies, TVs, does commercial work. Like, I don't know what The Rock can offer him in that respect that he can't already achieve himself. One thing that he doesn't feel like he could do on his own is win number 17, and that's why he's doing this.
So, notably, and because, like, Shotgun Sean is right, Cena has always been the corporate champion.
Yeah.
Notably, he doesn't. This isn't that type of selling out.
No.
The Rock doesn't. The Rock didn't want Cody to be the face of WWE because guess what? He's already face of WWE.
Correct.
The Rock wanted Cody to do his bidding, to be his guy, and John Cena, notably, since he's turned bad guy, doesn't have any bad guy merch. It's still just his other merch that's still there. They're trying to hawk. And so it's not about being the face of WWE because in terms of his legacy, he's kind of still, to a degree, that. He can be considered as one of the corporate faces of WWE. No, this is about securing. It's about desperation because he's gone 2,000 days or whatever it is without doing anything. And he needs that number 17.
Well, I guess technically he did win Elimination Chamber, so he has won a match.
Right, prior to that, though.
Yeah.
He hadn't done shit.
No.
And he happened to luck into this one.
Yeah.
And then or he took advantage, whatever you want to call it. And so it's really not about Cena being corporate champion because he's kind of in a lot of ways, he's corporate ambassador to WWE.
Oh, yeah.
And he's been corporate champion. He's been all the ice cream bars. That's what CM Punk used to say.
Yeah, he's been all the posters and ice cream bars and marketing material for the better part of 20 years.
Right, exactly. He might be even risking that by doing what he did. If anything, Cena didn't sell out. He bought in, Larson. He bet on himself. He has a little ankle tattoo that's got his scowl on it. It's like this. Yeah, anyways. Let's move on to more John Cena talk. Benny Omega.
There's going to be a lot of that today.
A lot of Cena talk. Says John Cena should win number 17 and 18. He wants to put some stank on it. He says he should win number 17 at WrestleMania as a heel, then somehow lose the title due to his lack of morals, then have the redemption arc to win the world title the right way, winning number 18 as a face, then retire as champ. I think one thing that you and I can probably agree on, if Cena wins at WrestleMania, it ain't going to be the right way. It's not going to be the clean way. So doesn't that mean there's a bit of a butt stain, an asterisk on that 17th title?
Yeah, so I get it. Benny's hot take here about 17 and 18. If that's assuming if part of Cena's story the rest of the year is the redemption arc after the heel turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No guarantee that's the case, though. You think he'd want to retire babyface John Cena?
You would think so. I would imagine.
You would think so.
Yeah.
You think that's what the company would want. The last image of John Cena in a wrestling ring. You know, you can't see me, never give up. That hustle, loyalty, respect, that John Cena.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, and if that's the case, yeah, I could see the point of having him win 17, 18, or fail at Mania and then win 17 later in the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
As babyface John Cena after he does a redemption arc after losing at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, because, from a story perspective, how much celebration really can there be on that number 17 now that he's a bad guy? If he does get it at WrestleMania, or if he does win it at some point as a bad guy, it'll be, I'm sure the crowd is going to be electric for whatever, because I think it's a pretty hot story right now. That being said, you could literally hear the promo from Cody Rhodes. What did it cost you, John?
Everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
So try to keep yourself from crying.
Yeah. Next hot take is from Billy Business. More John Cena talk. Says, hot take. John Cena turning heel is the most generous, selfless thing he's ever done in the business. He's given up his babyface farewell tour cheers so that Cody doesn't get any heat from their match. WWE has never protected anyone more than Cody, including Roman, and heel John will help cement Cody's ultimate face status for decades when Cody gets a win over him, probably for Cena's championship at this point. Is this John Cena being the ultimate babyface behind the scenes?
I don't know. We don't know. Maybe it is an opportunity to tell a good story. I mean, I guess there is a certain amount of selflessness in giving Cody the opportunity to, take the passing of the torch from John Cena, not just the typical babyface type way. But I'm sure part of this too is this is something you haven't done in a very long time. This is something we've never done with this iteration of the John Cena character. Something the fans really want to see from this iteration of the John Cena character. And in the process, tell a good story that, assuming there's a redemption arc, could have the inspirational, uplifting moment of him winning a championship, whether it's 17, 18. At the end of it, that'll kind of be the lasting, defining image of his final run at WWE. So, I mean, it kind of feels like, yeah, short term, the heel turn, it checks a lot of the boxes, and it gives Cody a great opportunity to cement himself as face of the company. But again, assuming there's a redemption arc, it gives John Cena a really good story for his final year as opposed to, I'm retiring.
What is the ultimate goal of the business of WWE?
Make money.
I love how you described it the other day.
Separating their fans from their money. Yes.
Yes. I love putting it that way. And so if there was a way that they thought from a long-term perspective, it would make more business sense to completely bury Cody Rhodes while elevating John Cena even more, they would do that.
1,000%.
It is crystal clear that they believe, and they're correct about this, that they want to keep riding that Rhodes money train. And the best way to do that, clearly, is through this particular story. John Cena, and I don't know if I necessarily believe him when he says this, but he claims that when he shows up to WWE, he says, what do you want me to do? And then he does it. Now, I'm sure Wade Barrett probably has some issue with that, but I kind of feel like, well, you know what? I will say this. I will contrast this with what happened last year where The Rock came in and seemingly just wanted to do The Rock show, which wasn't really like being all that terribly selfless. But whatever happened, whether it was TKO, Nick Khan, Triple H, whomever, I think probably just understood it'd be better business for them to pull the trigger on the Cody thing.
Yeah.
The most effective way to separate fans from their money would be to stick with the Cody Rhodes thing.
Yes.
So in that respect, it doesn't sound like John Cena is coming in and trying to make this all about John Cena. Ironically, it is all about John Cena now because it's been the heel turn. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I find it difficult to believe that anybody in the WWE is doing anything altruistically. They are simply trying to pry money away from those fans who have the money.
Exactly. And wrestlers who are, generally speaking, in a certain position, do what they can to maintain that position.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the atmosphere is probably better now than it was 15, 20, 30 years ago in terms of the politicking backstage and the backstabbing.
Probably.
This feels like people get along a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's more of a team mentality about things. That being said, I'm guessing there's still a lot of people very protective of their spots and will politic to make sure they keep their spots.
Absolutely.
I think that's one of those things in the pro wrestling business that'll probably never change.
Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing, though. It's kind of universal. You know,
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like my sister. She always got stories about, because she's in the financial industry, and she worked for a very prominent, a big, corporation in the financial world, and she'd always have stories about that very thing. That's just
Yeah. Oh, it happens in the
happens.
world of sports too, where there is a veteran who's seemingly entrenched at a particular position. Team drafts
Yeah.
a rookie at that same position with the idea that they'll eventually take that job, and sometimes the veteran will be the mentor to the rookie, and sometimes there's resentment there because the rookie's there. So
Remember when Carmelo Anthony was laughing off the idea of coming off the bench? It's like he's, I don't know, a vet for like 12 years or something. Clearly his productivity's fallen off.
yeah,
And he's like, bench. I'm not
it's like,
getting
no,
off
I'm
the
a
bench.
starter.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Oh man. Let's do one more before we pay some bills here. From Lenkick. Lenkick says, all the people who were whining about Triple H's boring booking and that it has been the worst WrestleMania build ever over the last couple of weeks can now kindly shut the fuck up forever. He said, hey fans, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, kind of. It's I get it. We had a couple of pretty huge storylines come to fruition. There's been some good stuff. We were going to do on Monday, we weren't going to do the news episode that we did. We had an episode of Count Out about 10 ways Triple H could fix WWE in 2025.
Whining about Triple H. Now we can kindly
no.
shut up, Larson.
No whining.
A
And
little bit of whining, maybe.
even though there's obviously some interesting stuff now happening on the road to WrestleMania, Cena heel turn, Jade's back, Io going into Mania seemingly is World Women's Champion.
And it came on the heels of a decent 3-hour SmackDown. Yeah.
Some of the issues that we discussed in that particular count out haven't necessarily been addressed by these developments per se.
And they will crop back up when WrestleMania season is over with.
Absolutely.
So we can hold on to that episode and then
pocket.
drop it like in May, and people will be like, "What the hell? What's
It's
going
like,
on?"
why are you talking about Rhea
road to
versus
WrestleMania.
Io Sky like it hasn't happened yet?
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, we forgot to re-edit it. But anyways, it's a situation now where yes, there's progress and momentum and the story's going some places now after several months of not a whole lot of intriguing anything happening. And I understand people are like, this is great. This is what wrestling should be. Dramatic moments, huge moments, moments that are impactful and leave fans wanting more and wanting fans to tune in to the next week's show. I guess my response is, well, it's about time we got some of that because for months we hadn't had much.
That's exactly right. It's a year-long thing. As Triple H likes to say, the story never ends. You get 52 weeks of 5 hours a week of programming.
5.5.
5.5 now. And there are long spells where it is boring. So at that point, the people who say, just shut up and enjoy the wrestling, I can't enjoy the wrestling if it's boring. That's the one take I cannot stand is just sit back and enjoy it. Okay, sit back and enjoy what? Paint dry? What am I supposed to enjoy? Like if it doesn't hit the neurons and the fucking...
Oh, Steve's making the face. Yeah, look at him there.
If it doesn't, what are those things? Remember when you eat something really good? What is it? If something goes firing. What is it, man? It's the
synapses.
Yeah, the synapses go firing. Dude, if you're not being stimulated in the fun zone, Larson, then what are you supposed to enjoy? I understand the philosophy of being patient and letting things play out. At the same time, if I'm sitting there week to week just sitting in it and it's not stimulating me, the fuck am I supposed to talk about when I review the show?
Yeah.
So no, if something's boring, don't kindly tell people to shut the fuck up. Just say, oh, wow, now we got around to something good.
Yes. Exactly. Now, I'm looking at the list. I won't go through all the entries in the event that we decide to put it out in some sort of edited form.
Mm-hmm.
But there's maybe one or two segments we would have to reshoot to accommodate the developments coming out of Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
We thought with the Cena news, there'd probably be news and a lot more worth talking about. We'll just do that instead. But, for example, we mentioned entrance themes. Still an issue.
Oh, yeah.
Presentation. SmackDown, even though last week's was all right, still maybe kind of long at 2 hours as opposed to 2 or 3 hours now instead of 2 or 2.5. The tag division is getting more TV time, but they're developing feuds more so than stories with character progression.
Yeah.
So those are the type of things we were talking about in this count out. And nothing that I saw over the weekend necessarily leads me to change my mind about any of those things. And that's not to take away of the developments that happened because they were interesting and they were intriguing in it. And I want to know where things go from here.
Yeah. If you have cool shit happening every single episode, but there's a long stretch where there just wasn't. And if you're going to keep people's attentions 52 weeks out of the year, which is what should be your goal.
Absolutely.
And I even understand the booking philosophy of, right now we're going to be setting up pieces.
Yep.
And at that point, it might be a bit on the boring side. I feel like you do need to not exclusively be in a building phase.
That's the thing. It seems like across the show, building phase,
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like you have things building while other things are paying off.
Mm-hmm. And there needs to be
as we just saw the last 4 days, so many things that were developing paid off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe spread some of that out a little bit.
Yeah. No, I agree. Before we continue on with some more Triple H booking philosophy talk, let's go ahead and pay some bills, Larson. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right. This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by BetterHelp. Larson.
Yes, Steve.
You and I are very fortunate, dude, to have strong support systems in our lives. Whether it's our friends, our family, or each other, we both have people that we can go to for advice, guidance, and encouragement.
Yes, thankfully we do have very strong support systems, and therapy can also be a source of support for any area in your life. Back in my mid-20s, I was dealing with severe anxiety and needed the guidance of a therapist to help me learn the coping skills I needed to better manage my anxiety so I can get my life back on track. But back in the early 2000s, I was living in LA, and going to therapy involved getting in the car and having to deal with Los Angeles traffic. Talking about anxiety.
Nightmare.
Get in the car just hoping to make it to my appointment on time. But BetterHelp is completely online, making therapy convenient and affordable. With BetterHelp, you have access to a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties, and you can easily switch therapists at any time at no extra cost.
So build your support system with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw. And let's get a word from our sponsor, Hims. Listen, guys, I get it. Losing your hair can be a real bummer. You can probably see it's getting pretty thin up here for me, too. But I am here to tell you that just because you may have lost your hair, that doesn't mean you can't find it again. Hims makes treating hair loss simple and convenient, with doctor-trusted options that can regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months.
And it's 100% online too, which means no awkward doctor's visits. Instead, you get access to a wide range of hair loss treatment options from the comfort of your couch. To get started, all you got to do is answer a few questions, and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is shipped directly to you for free. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care.
So start your free online visit today at hims.com/goinginraw. That's HIMS.com/goinginraw for your personalized hair loss treatment options. hims.com/goinginraw.
Results vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
And let's get a word from our sponsor, Tempo. Steve, we've all been there before. Time is tight. Maybe you're in a hurry, and fast food seems like your only option at mealtime. But let me ask you this. When I say fast food, what pops up in your mind?
Dude, well, you know what? I used to think that fast food was just a lump of unhealthy, thought-out, greasy meat in patty form. But my idea of fast food changed with Tempo. Tempo offers protein-packed fuel that saves you time without compromising your health goals.
Tempo is a weekly delivery service that provides you with chef-crafted, single-serving meals prepared to cook in just 3 minutes, and they're delivered fresh right to your door.
Tempo's meals take all that guesswork out of eating well, and they've got new recipes each week, like farmer's market chicken and honey-glazed pork chops that are made with real nutrient-rich ingredients, which make it easy to keep up with your healthy lifestyle.
For a limited time, Tempo is offering Going In Raw listeners 60% off your first box. Go to tempomeals.com/raw. That's tempomeals.com/raw for 60% off your first box. tempomeals.com/raw. Rules and restrictions may apply.
All right, let's keep going here with our next hot take. This one comes to us from John O. Davies. John says Triple H's booking philosophy is not that far removed from Vince's. Let normal creative meander for a while and then pop rating/interest with a combination of part-time wrestlers or shocking moments.
I mean, I feel like Triple H's booking philosophy is actually quite a bit different, but in terms of how stories are sometimes laid out, there might be some similarity because, you know, kind of a lot of the storytelling language of pro wrestling that we all know now was established by Vince in the 80s. In terms of how Triple H approaches creative, it's vastly different from Vince on a show-to-show, week-to-week basis because Triple H is a lot more focused on character. And his characters, or these characters having motivations that are understandable and not based on the whims of an old man that's out of touch, which is, especially in the last 10 years of Vince's tenure head of creative, seemed to drive his creative more than anything, was his whims. That's sure not the case with Triple H.
Yeah, dude. I mean, there really are, to a degree, from a creative standpoint, two Vince McMahons. There is the guy that smartly took from a lot of different territory television programs and adopted the best of that stuff. You know, for example, this is different from what we're talking about, but he took Starrcade. He saw Starrcade and was like, "Oh, a big payoff show to wrap up a bunch of shit that the NWA was doing during the year. What if I took that central concept and I New Yorked it up? I celebrity'd it up. I Hollywooded it up, right?" Similar to television when he got into it and started doing like Raw, for example, he would take the booking philosophies from a lot of different places, and he sort of created the modern language of cable television wrestling. Well, Triple H, studied under that, and for a long period of time, probably up until, I don't know, I mean, there were so many ups and downs, but I don't know, mid-aughts maybe. Maybe even up until like, the early 2010s, but then you're dealing with the guest host era. Certainly by the time 2017 rolled around until the end of his time in like 2021. So like last 5 years at least. But I mean, so much of what he did over the past 20 years was just like, ugh, And I think Triple H took what is a winning formula, studied the good stuff, incorporated what he honestly feels works best, and has improved upon that. But hasn't really changed the formula all that much because it's a winning formula. It's just, by the end, Vince was just old, out of touch, super just fucking weird. And he would just do stuff, like you said, on his weird old man whims. And so, no, the actual ideas, the philosophy behind what he's doing isn't really that far from what Vince kind of established. That being said, Triple H's booking philosophy put up against Vince's philosophy from 2018, 2019, 2020 is vastly different in that it's just a lot better. There's an attention to detail. There's logical storyline. There are character motivations that make sense. And Vince never cared about that stuff.
Nope.
Or at least he hasn't in a very, very long time. Yep. And arguably you can go back and say, well, did he ever really? And so I think there are, structurally speaking, there's not going to be any much of a difference. Tony Khan adopts the same philosophy essentially. But, when it comes down to the things that kind of matter that will get people to be interested versus what they won't be interested in, there's a gulf of a difference. There's a massive difference.
Yeah, it's pretty massive. There is. Indeed.
All right, next up from Giga Herrera says, putting all the eggs in the WrestleMania basket hurts the product where great booking and stories need to be emphasized throughout the year. I totally understand this particular hot take because as we talked about earlier, there does seemingly need to be a bit more variety when it comes to things are paid off while you're building things. And the end all be all. I mean, look, on one hand, I can appreciate, because we've talked about this before. Well, won't a 2-night SummerSlam kind of devalue the 2-night WrestleMania because now there's 2-night shows if they do the same thing with Money in the Bank, Royal Rumble, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, no, because WrestleMania is the only place you're going to get the final boss trying to screw over Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that, like, they're giving us the biggest thing they can at the one time of the year when they should. Mm-hmm. That being said, if the general audience is finding the rest of the year not even close to being that, then I can understand that's a problem. Now, I don't think that's the problem now necessarily. I think that there has been plenty of times over the past 12 months from last WrestleMania to what we're seeing now. I think there's been plenty of fun, intriguing moments and some compelling television along the way. Is it as much as I think people, once you give people a little taste, what do they want? They want a lot more. So yeah.
And especially when you had the Bloodline saga week in and week out. There were stretches, 4, 5, 6 weeks in a row. It's like, gosh, how can they top this? And they top it the next week.
Yeah.
And that hasn't been the case, obviously, since Mania last year when Roman lost. And it's not to say there hasn't been good moments. There have been. But, there's been several times during the course of the year between last year's Mania and this one that we're like, all right, come on, let's get things moving along. And I understand the major storyline is they want those to culminate at Rumble, SummerSlam, Mania, War Games now. I get that. That's marketing. You're building the major stories to your major events. Well, some of the stuff on the undercard, if you give it attention, you can have some good moments happening that are impactful to the characters of the show in between.
Yeah.
You don't need to have everything kind of crescendo simultaneously. some of the stuff on the undercard can have these great moments on an episode of SmackDown, and it makes the show so much more must watch if that happens on a more regular basis. I understand you got to set things up to get the payoff, but again, line things up so you're paying other stories off while you're setting other ones up.
I'd have to go back and look, but you got to think that with what was happening with Judgment Day on Raw, and this is one of the things that we talked about in that count out that we talked about, was the idea that they need to go back to saga level storytelling. Well, you have one big story on Raw, one big story on SmackDown, and I want to go back and revisit the time between 39 and 40, because that's when that stuff was really going strong. And I think it was probably some really just, you had peak bloodline going on there. Mm-hmm. It was just really, really strong storylines. Maybe not peak. Peak was before 39, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was before 39. Yeah,
it was before 39. Yeah, 39 was the
stuff.
Owens Zayn stuff with the Usos.
The Usos, yeah.
But even from 39 to 40, there was a lot of really, really good stuff there. And so, yeah, I mean, that's one of the complaints, is that when you have those sagas, you're more likely to have big, intriguing moments where you're like, God damn, what's going to happen next week?
Yeah.
You know,
which I know it's not going to happen on every episode of weekly TV, but I kind of feel like at the end of an episode of Raw or SmackDown, you got to give the audience something where they're sitting there thinking, gosh, what's going to happen next week?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's going to happen on Monday?
Yeah.
Hot take here from College Dewdrop says, after tonight's from Raw title change, Charlotte's promo with Rhea makes a lot more sense. Rhea is still a child. Did you think about Charlotte's promo when Rhea was so focused on Bianca and it cost her the match, and then she's yelling at herself that she's stupid after the fact?
No, but I think that's a really good point.
It is a good point. I hadn't thought about that either, and I saw this hot take. I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. They're telling more of a story with Charlotte and Rhea than they are with Charlotte and Tiffany.
It'll be interesting if they follow through with this. Yeah. Because it'd be great to hear Charlotte's point of view from that, or even, she shows up for whatever reason on Raw to say, you wanted to know why? This is why, something like that. I don't know. It would be just nice to know anything about Charlotte's motivations in terms of why she chose. But yeah, it'd be nice if they would address that, because this is actually a really good point.
It is a good point. Yeah. Interesting. Something to think about. Hot take here from the nerd upstairs says, Io Sky winning the title makes the road to WrestleMania way more interesting now, and don't be shocked when Bianca turns heel. All
right. As much as I know that Bianca was an amazing heel in NXT.
Fantastic. Gosh, she was so good.
Doing that kind of shit to people.
Walking up to interviews just chewing gum.
Yeah.
Gosh, she was so good.
She ain't gonna go back. That was the closest thing to the Dr. Thugonomics. She is the new Cena. She will never go back.
I don't know. I think it's a possibility.
She will go back on the same time frame that Cena went heel.
I'm not saying it's going to happen in the build-up to this year's Mania, but I'm not going to discount it as a possibility within the next 5 years.
Really?
Yeah. If the story's there. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think from a business perspective, there's no way they'd ever do that.
If they found the Cody to Bianca's John Cena,
who could that be, though?
I mean, I offhand, I don't know, but I'm just saying it will make that decision a lot easier, I think.
I don't disagree with that. It's a stacked women's division, but
it is.
Bianca's singular.
Oh, she's generational
unique.
Talent, without a doubt. Yeah.
I mean, dude, I don't know. She has got such she's so good as a heel, and Cena was so good as a heel back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. I think they have her. They would turn Rhea heel before they turn Bianca heel.
Yeah, probably. But I think Io
saying much, because Rhea's been heel plenty.
Yeah. And Io winning does throw a bit of a curveball, because going into Raw last night, we thought, all right, at most, this is going to be a walk finish.
Yeah.
didn't think Io had much of a chance to win.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, all right, triple threat, one-on-one match. They say even Rhea Bianca one-on-one next year, seemingly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, it's a good way to throw a curveball at us. That's interesting and not random,
Mm-hmm.
which seemed to happen a lot with Vince.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And again, it makes you want to tune in to see, all right, how is this all going to work out?
It does, and that's what you need. That's what you need, and then absolutely, yeah. And the match is going to be phenomenal.
Fantastic.
It's going to be so good. I mean, there's no wrong way. If somehow, some way they keep Rhea out of this, and it's just Io Bianca, it's going to be a great match. Mm-hmm. If it's a triple threat, it's going to be a great match. If it's Rhea Bianca somehow, some way, which I don't think they can do at this point, be a great match. Yeah, I mean,
they could do Rhea versus Io for the title again, and have Rhea beat her there, and then you get Rhea Bianca again at Mania. It's possible.
There are things they could do. All right, Sam Petrosky has a hot take. Says Roman has lost a lot of his aura because he's been gone way too much this year. I think Roman's lost a lot of his aura. I'm not going to say a lot of his aura, but given that he is no longer not anywhere close to being the foundational piece of the company the way he was, you know, when he came back after Mania last year, it was so limp. It was weak. He had moments. He did the solo thing. He got the Ulafala bag. Has been gone after, you know, Seth stomped him twice. I don't know how you can go. Here's the thing. How can you possibly go from guy who's got like the best entourage, is involved in the most compelling story, has the title, has the modern day Bruno type reign? How do you lose all that and not lose some of your aura? That's just natural to what happens in the story.
Yeah. Well, part of it too is the stories just haven't been there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can present him as a final boss type character, which he still is. But the stories he was involved in between his return up until getting stomped twice at the Rumble.
Yeah, I know.
There's moments. Great. And like if they had actually taken their time with the Bloodline reunion
mm-hmm.
and given us those moments like we had during their peak, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah.
But when one of the first things he says during all that is, I'm not changing. All right. Where's the growth? Where's the evolution of the character? That's what makes somebody interesting.
And if you're going to say I'm not changing, there should be consequences to that.
Yes.
And there weren't.
Nope.
So
everybody's just cool with them.
Yeah. I mean, creatively speaking, you know, and you know, this hot take here, I mean, does have a reason. It says because he's been gone way too much this year. When a person isn't around, it's hard to tell stories with them as well.
Yeah.
Unless there's already, you know, unless you have the bloodline situation where he's got proxies, and he doesn't have that anymore. And so, yes, his absence does hurt him as well. But also when he was around, the stories weren't great. So I think that has as much to do with it as anything.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Hot take here from AJ Otani says next year Elimination Chamber should be before Royal Rumble.
So I had something kind of similar. It might have been from AJ over at WrestleJuice. I think the question was, because I did like an ask thing, is the Chamber now more important than Royal Rumble? I feel like this year might be a bit of an outlier in that the two bigger world title matches were decided at the Chamber instead of the Rumble, where traditionally it's at the Rumble. And I feel like I don't know what the philosophy is going to be going forward, but it wouldn't shock me if next year they kind of got the Rumble back on track with whoever wins the Rumble is going to be the night 2 guy. Whoever wins the women's Rumble is going to be whoever is the perceived bigger champion, probably either Rhea or Bianca.
Yeah. You know, and I wonder if just the stories they were telling necessitated that being the case with Cena.
Cena had to lose the Rumble.
He couldn't win the Rumble. If he's going to win anything, it had to be Chamber.
Yeah.
And if Bianca had won the Rumble, we wouldn't have got the stuff with her and her pod while Jade is laying out Naomi.
Yeah.
And that added so much. If Bianca and Naomi were in the Rumble together and Jade comes out and attacks Naomi, like, you lose so much.
It's a unique,
in terms of that moment. Yeah.
it's a unique presentation that added so much to the story, to both stories.
Yep.
With Cena losing the Rumble, that was a necessity for him to feel that desperation.
Yeah.
So I feel I would be surprised if we had something similar next year, but I don't know. I guess you never know. Triple H has 2 big events back to back where he can book big stories leading into WrestleMania. And I'm sure he's going to try to use them to their, to get the most advantage, to the fullest potential. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of scheduling, maybe it would be interesting. And I know Rumble is generally occupied end of January, now early February this year. Just to switch them and see how that affects the storytelling, if it would matter.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be. It didn't seem like it would be, but it seems like it'd be kind of a pretty drastic. It's like, because then whoever wins Chamber would then get first pick.
That's true.
As opposed to the, Rumble winner.
Traditionally, Rumble winner gets first pick.
Yeah.
How about this?
Yeah. What do you got?
Same weekend. Rumble on Saturday, Chamber on Sunday.
How about this?
Different locations.
Weekends back to back. 2-night Rumble, 2-night Chamber.
That's a lot. It's a lot.
But is it too much? Probably.
Probably not for WWE, because why, Steve?
Because they want to pry that money away from their fans.
Well, I was going to say because WWE's on fire, but that too.
No, WWE's on fire.
All about separating their fan base from their money.
He's starting to sound like a Sling Blade. Separating money from their fans. WWE's on fire. Mustard.
Right,
Dylan Jameson.
Yeah, Dylan Jameson. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Dylan. Dylan says the Shield is one of the most overrated factions in WWE history. Everyone says they're the best, but I was completely bored by everything to do with them and quit watching because of how boring they were. I stopped everything because they're so stupid. I did that last part.
Yeah,
I added on to it.
I guess Dylan's welcome to his opinion. He's not into the Shield. I can tell you when I thought the Shield was pretty cool. The first time I saw Seth Rollins do a tope out of one side of the ring, land on his feet, get the ring, do a tope on the other side of the ring, land on his feet. And I'm like, all right, Seth Rollins is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too. So let me offer up this.
Oh,
You
got that smirk on your face.
I'm not far away from Dylan here. While the Shield were a thing, I was underwhelmed. What made the Shield was their breakup. That's what made the Shield. They were only together for like a year and a half or something.
Yeah.
And what made them was their breakup. Even when they got back together, I was like, you don't need to get back together.
Yeah, it seems a little early for them to be in nostalgic. I agree with that, yeah.
Yeah. But while they were a thing, number one, it's the stupidest thing, dude. But number one, I never liked the SWAT gear.
Yeah.
I never liked that stuff. Number two, I hated the logo. It was so like you enter in like, okay, I need a sports logo for a team called the Shield.
It's like a college sports team. Yeah.
And then the thing that really killed it for me
was Taz's theme, Slow Down.
No, I like their theme. The Taz one's better.
Yeah.
Is that their stupid videotape promos? Number one, they were all so corny. Believe in the Shield. Yeah. And they had their little camcorder out, and they had like the fake like recording like HUD on it.
Yeah.
And it was so corny. And they added like a VHS.
That was Vince's thing, probably. It wasn't them.
I know. But like, I don't know. I kind of feel this one. Like, look, I'm not going to say that, number one, anybody who says the Shield is the best faction, they're fucking smoking crack, because there's like 5 better ones that I could think of off the top of my head.
House of Torture, number 1.
Thank you. Yeah. But yeah, they're more important for what they became after they broke up.
That's the thing is their careers post Shield were so wildly successful that retroactively it made the Shield a great faction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to say they didn't do interesting stuff. I thought there was some good stuff during their run. They were wildly popular.
They were super popular
because at the time, what, 2014?
2014, yeah.
There wasn't really much going on in WWE to get super excited about.
No, and people were cheering for Roman to win the Rumble as part of the Shield in 2014.
You had Daniel Bryan's story, and you had the Shield, and that was kind of the interesting stuff going on at WWE at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a situation where what they were doing was decent and sometimes good, but it stood out because so much else what was going on on WWE television was not very good at all.
Could you imagine if they were somehow able to bring the same creative energy they had for OG Bloodline to the Shield and doing their breakup instead of just, Seth Rollins? And it was fine the way they did the breakup. It was epic the way they did the breakup. It's an iconic breakup with Seth. They're all the three young dudes, and one guy decided to buy in to himself, and he was the plan B, Seth Rollins. And that's great. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
But imagine if there was more interesting dynamics between the three of them as the Shield was a thing.
Yeah.
Which we never really got.
No, not really. No, because Dean was really the only one to ever talk to any amount.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Roman would just say, believe in the Shield. That was it.
And Seth would awkwardly try to remember his lines. Ironic because he's a great promo now.
It's a fantastic promo.
Yeah, but back then it was like, why does this guy seem nervous?
Yeah. All right, we got one more hot take here. Another one from the nerd upstairs. It says, hot take. Seeing Kathy Kelly in socks so she doesn't dwarf Jey Uso in a backstage interview was further proof he isn't the guy.
There was a picture. Okay, there was a picture or a video on social. I don't know what it was. I just saw a still of it, of Kathy wearing socks instead of high heels, I think, while interviewing Jey Uso. I saw it on the Twitter, and so I saw that, and the tweet caption was, or the person had said, "It's so ridiculous that Kathy Kelly was forced into taking off her shoes and only wearing socks in a freezing dock area out in," because I think was it New Jersey or something like
Buffalo.
that. They're in Buffalo. They're in Buffalo,
Yeah.
so it's freezing out there, right? It's like the tundra. And because WWE doesn't want their interviewers to be taller than their wrestlers. And it's come on, man. Maybe she was just more comfortable in the socks. They look like comfortable socks. And she was probably wearing high heels otherwise, which, I don't know. I tried to wear some once, and they seem very uncomfortable. I think I was a little kid.
They're super uncomfortable. Yeah.
I tried to put my mom's on once, and they're super uncomfortable. So I don't know that it's they don't want her to be as tall as Jey Uso or whatever the deal is. But I don't know. There's a lot of silly outrage about that.
Yeah. I mean, doing a Google search, according to Google, Kathy Kelly is 5'7", Jey Uso is 6'2".
Yeah, so I don't know.
That's my math is right. That's 7 inches difference. Assuming that Jey Uso's build height is his actual height. Let's say he's 6 feet tall.
You just proved that he is the guy. Yeah. So
I did a Google image search, so I can't find that particular picture. But looking at all these other interviews they've done together,
yeah,
and even if she's got no shoes on for any of them,
yeah,
he's substantially taller than her.
Yeah, right.
So if the idea is because Jey Uso is short, that he shouldn't be a main eventer, is honestly ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
Because let's talk about Shawn Michaels, 6 feet. Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, under 6 feet.
Yeah.
AJ Styles, 5'8".
Yeah.
I can list a ton of wrestlers who are below 6 feet tall that I don't think many people would argue, oh, they're not main eventers because they're short. It's a ridiculous argument.
Yeah,
he's got the presence of someone 11 feet tall.
Yeah, he does. Yeet. I can't find the damn thing anywhere, and now it makes me mad. Jey Uso. Let's see here. I swear to God, Twitter's so useless, man. Dang it. Anyway.
No, I just think it's a ridiculous argument. Oh, this person's short, so therefore not a main eventer, not the guy. No, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Preach on, man. Preach on. Anyways, that is going to do it for this edition of Hot Takes.
Hot Takes.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Tomorrow we'll be back with our AEW. We'll tell everybody what it's like to be there live at AEW Dynamite.
Yeah.
Take all sorts of pictures of all the empty seats, Larson.
Well, it looks like they sold a decent number of tickets. Maybe I haven't checked in a little bit, but
Sacramento wins again.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Dude, we get Cope versus Wheeler Yuta.
Oh gosh, I hope that's the main event too.
Dude, I'm gonna go scope out the concessions during that match.
I
wonder what the minute they got us. We got a Swerve Ricochet contract signing.
Oh, that'll be fun.
That'll be cool, I guess. And then there's those two matches. The other match is Thunder Rosa and Statlander versus Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford.
That's right. So I'm looking at the ticket map here, and there's like they sold a good number of tickets. There's some seats available in the upper deck and a little bit behind hard camp, but otherwise.
All right, man.
Everything
we get to check out that new Memorial Auditorium.
Haven't been there since they renovated the place. So.
Same. Remember before COVID, we were supposed to go see Tom York there?
Yeah.
Never happened. What about
Never happened.
Anyways.
It's wild. He's playing a show at Memorial Auditorium in Sacramento.
Well, it's not Radiohead.
Well, I know. Well, yeah. I mean, even if Radiohead had a show at Golden One, I'd be surprised they stopped in Sacramento.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're saying just, why is he gracing us?
And that's that, yeah.
I mean, he probably thght it was San Francisco, bro.
Maybe.
He don't know better. He's like, Sacramento is that part of San Francisco.
And this booking agent is like, yeah.
Sure it is, mate.
Sure.
Who cares? The pounds are the same. Anyway, that's going to do it. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate it. Till next time. We'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.